The movie Abraham Lincoln provides us with many great examples of public speaking. In this video, I'll share with you some of those lessons and the character that demonstrates it best. And it wasn't Abraham Lincoln. It was Tommy Lee Jones' character, Thaddeus Stevens, standing before the House of Representatives to share his views on the 13th Amendment that gives us some great lessons that we can apply to our own speeches. The first lesson that Thaddeus provides us is stand and pause. When Thaddeus walks out to the front of the House of Representatives, turns and faces the members, there is a hostile group and there's a supportive group. They're all trying to bait him, they're all trying to goad him into saying something. But Thaddeus just walks to the front, stands behind the lectern and gets himself ready. He pauses, he stops, he scans the audience and only starts his speech when he's ready. This is a vital lesson for every public speaker. You don't start your speech until you're ready. When you're introduced to speaking, when it's your turn to stand up, get yourself centered. Don't feel that you must rush into starting your speech or starting your presentation to fill in the silence. Instead, be calm, be confident, pause, scan the audience, and when you're ready, and only when you're ready, do you start saying your first words. The second lesson that Thaddeus provides us is to know exactly why you are standing in front of an audience and speaking. Thaddeus passionately supported racial equality. He desperately wanted the 13th Amendment to pass. He knew as he stood there in front of the House of Representatives that his speech was to gain their support. It wasn't to share his views on equality, which in his mind he'd like to have seen go much, much further. But he wanted that amendment to pass. So he knew the reason for his speaking, the reason for his standing in front of the House of Representatives was to get their support for the 13th Amendment. That's it. When you stand up to speak, you need to know exactly what your purpose is. Why are you standing in front of an audience? If you know why you're standing in front of an audience, you can be much more confident and much more focused in what you say. It will help you deliver a much better presentation because you know the reason that you're there and you know where you want to get your audience to at the end of the speech. The third lesson ties in tightly with our second lesson. This third lesson is about saying only what is required to be said. Now, as I alluded to in the second lesson, Thaddeus was passionate, exceedingly passionate about racial equality. He would love for the 13th Amendment to be much broader, go much further in what he defined as equality. But he knew that his views weren't necessarily shared by others who did support the 13th Amendment. And those who were hostile to the amendment were desperately trying to bait and goad Thaddeus into saying more to scare those who did support the amendment away from it. So Thaddeus knew that when he stood up, when he delivered his speech to the House of Representatives, he needed to include material only relevant to ensuring that those who supported the amendment maintained their support and to try and get one or two more people from the negative side over to supporting the amendment. It wasn't to share his broad view of racial equality. Had he done that, he would have undermined the support for the 13th Amendment. You can apply this in your speeches. You need to know what is relevant for you to say in your speech to achieve the purpose that you want. If you add material in that's not relevant, the chances are you're going to confuse your audience and you may actually counterbalance and counteract what it is you're trying to say by providing too much information. So say only what is necessary. Say only what is required to get their support, to get your audience to do what it is you want them to do at the end of your speech or the end of your presentation. If you do that, you'll have much tighter, much focused speeches that will achieve their aims more often than they do today. So So make sure that when you're delivering a speech and when you're preparing your speech, you only have material in there that is relevant to what you're trying to achieve. Thaddeus Stevens provided us some wonderful examples of how we can deliver our speeches. Stand up and pause, get yourself centered. Don't feel you must rush into starting your speech. Have a clarity of vision. Know why you are standing there in front of your audience. And when you know why you're standing there, you can ensure that the material that you have and that you're presenting supports that vision, that purpose. When you do that, you'll have much better speeches. They'll be far more effective. And the presentations and speeches that you do deliver will be delivered with more poise, with more confidence, and with more authority that will be appreciated by your audience, and you will achieve the outcomes that you want more often than not.